Hello, hello. All right, everybody, we're up and running. Woohoo! Here we go, everybody. Let's see, is everything set? So I had to plug in another webcam in order to get this all happening. So we are running a little bit late today, but it is Mr. Jackson's Peanut Butter Hour. Today we're going to be talking about how to use Zoom to the best of your abilities so that you can have some fun interactive things going on with Zoom, because many of you guys are going to have to be doing Zoom stuff next week. So grab a spoonful of peanut butter, grab whatever access to peanut butter you might have. In this case, you know I got some more of these Reese's eggs. So I'm going to dive right in. So happy you're all here. I had to pull up my chat. Hey, Blue. So, what we're going to do, I wish I could share my actual screen with you guys. Let's see if this works. Window capture. Yes, Zoom window. Boom. Put it in the back. So I opened up Zoom. In order to download Zoom, you got to go to the Zoom website, click on download Zoom. It's pretty straightforward. You can do this on your Chromebook. You can do this on your phone. It's all a little bit different. Notice my green shirt on a green screen. Is it just me, or like people not having it today? Maybe it's that it's April 1st and it's like official that we're entering into a whole nother month of this. But it seems like just Blue and I here talking about Zoom. Maybe nobody cares about Zoom. Who knows? I'm sure Kenna's going to show up, take her picture. It looks like chowder. Oh, this does. It looks like it's like see-through, right? Really weird. Really weird. Thanks for interacting with me, Blue. It makes it a lot easier. So, I finished my peanut butter. Hopefully you guys have some peanut butter at home. Now, when it comes to Zoom, there's a couple of things where if you download Zoom onto your phone, I would strongly suggest that you try and block as much as possible. It seems like more and more information is coming out about how we shouldn't really be trusting apps like this. So giving it access to your camera might be a necessity, but ultimately try and give it as little access to like your location and that sort of stuff. And anytime that it's asking you, hey, do you want to do this? Try pressing no first. And if it says, hey, you have to do it in order to make the app work, then you have to do it. But I'll open up my Zoom app. And when you open up the Zoom app, you're going to get a screen that asks you to sign in. This is absolutely important for all of you guys out there with Google Classroom, with your Google logins. Make sure that you sign in with your Google account. There's a button that says, do you want to sign in? Click sign in, even though you don't have an account yet. Click sign in and then click sign in with your Google account. Do not create a new account. You'll notice that mine is the same over here. Up in this corner, it has the same picture as it does for my actual Google account. That's because they're linked. You want those two things to be linked so that all of it is your student information, which is all highly protected. You don't just want to share all your personal information about where you're at and that sort of stuff. And you don't want it to accidentally connect to things that you don't want other people to see. So if I'm in my Zoom app on my phone, that same thing is the case. And you'll notice that I popped up and it says right on there that it is Alex Jackson with the same picture on it. Now, to get into all the details, the biggest thing that you guys are going to want to know is when you click into the app, and I wish I could share my app screen with you. When you click into the app, all the way down at the bottom, there's a settings button. And on that settings button, hey Jocelyn, on that settings button, when you click on it, you're going to go into general, and you can click on blur snapshot on task switcher. That means that it's going to blur any of your other information that might be shown on the screen. So you definitely want that turned on. And if you go into Cat, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to me? I already said general. Where was it? Meetings. Click on the meetings button on your phone app. And if you go into the meetings button on your phone app, you have this thing all the way down at the bottom that I know many of you youths are going to want information on, which is touch up my appearance. If you click touch up my appearance, it will show you a video of what you're seeing. And you can click a little switch that makes your face look a little bit better. All right. So you're definitely going to want to click that touch up my appearance button if you're feeling a little bit nervous about the way that you look. It also has a button underneath that says keep virtual background for, and I set it to all meetings rather than current meeting. So virtual background is the other thing that's going to be really important in a Zoom app meeting. The virtual background I'll show you on the actual screen here. So this works the same way when you are in the phone app. So just follow along with this and it will make sense. The first thing, to change your virtual background, you have to be in a meeting first. So I'm going to click new meeting. Woo! Join with computer audio. I am using the computer audio and now I'm floating around in space. You guys can't see it. Let me open up a new window capture. Zoom meeting. So it's not going to show you the face capture on the Zoom meeting because OBS has stuff that stops that from happening. Boom, it's me. I'm in a blank white void with lots of green screen around me. So you'll notice that down here, why are you too big? Why are you too big? Make this screen smaller. There. That's what we really want to look at. I'm just actually going to put this up at the top. Up at the top of the screen, you'll see, or at the bottom of this screen, you'll see all the way over here, this little arrow right next to stop video. If you click on it, you can choose your virtual background. And then it's really straightforward. The virtual backgrounds that you have choices between will pop up and you can pick on the plus button that says add image or video. For me, I really wish that OBS didn't block this stuff for you because it's showing me like floating around in space. All right. So I will give you my background so that you can see what I use, or you can use, if you guys like Philip DeFranco, Philip DeFranco has his video background on YouTube. So that's pretty cool. But ultimately, you're going to want to change your virtual background, and I'm going to click End Meeting for All and shut this down so that we're floating around in black space. All right, you're going to want to change your background so that people can't see anything else that's coming in. And it also will ask you to do an update so that you can do that without a green screen. I currently have a green screen, which is why I'm floating around in space here. But if you don't have a green screen, you can still do it, and it will blur out everything that's behind you. The reason you want to blur out everything that's behind you is because you really don't know what's going to be behind you, especially if you're on your phone and you're like moving around. You don't want it to pick up something like, hey, I have a poster that says something inappropriate like F school on the wall. You're not going to want to show that off, right? For obvious reasons. So those are the quick little privacy tips for Zoom. The other thing is, honestly, I noticed that on my end, there's not a lot of stuff that like shows whether or not you're paying attention or whether or not you're there. And when it comes to the data that we've gotten about how we're supposed to do this stuff, teachers shouldn't have those features turned on. So there's nothing about like you should have required attendance out the window. There's no required attendance. You shouldn't have grades that are attached to your projects yet. All of next week is just a time where you can get settled with your classes. So in the chat, all four of you guys, how many of you guys got the email that talks about the schedule that went out? Because I know that the schedule looks a little bit funky for other people. And so I want to talk about how it's supposed to look if you haven't seen it already. If you just join a meeting without making an account, is that still safe? No, it will create a fake account for you and it will collect even more data. So we will look at the schedule myself. but you want to create your Google account because your Google account is associated to your student stuff. And that means that they know that you're, first of all, a minor, and second of all, that it's filtered through a school. So the school is only going to be able to give out certain information. They're liable for that information. And on top of that, you're a minor and they've clearly identified you as a minor. So there's legal ramifications if somebody's using your information when they shouldn't be. So that's why I would strongly suggest. Otherwise, it's going to say, oh, we didn't know who was using it. We didn't know if they were an adult or not an adult, so we sent all the data that we could over to Facebook, which is exactly why Zoom is currently being sued. So watch out for that, and exactly why I don't really want to be using Zoom. But here we are in this fun little wasteland. Doop-de-doop-de-doo. I'm going to go into my Gmail so that you guys can see the stuff that I got. Because it looks different when you're looking at it from a laptop. The schedule actually makes a little bit more sense. So, sorry for the shaky cam. I'm not able to use my mouse while I have my other webcam plugged in, which was probably a waste. Didn't need to do that. Where is it? Where is it? Any other questions? What are you guys going through? I feel like today's a little bit of a rough day. Maybe that's just me. As I scroll on down, oh, this is the video message. If you guys didn't see that video message, it's really sweet. Window capture number 50 million. I had to keep on doing new window captures. All right, put it on up there. So you'll see that when I click on it, it looks a little bit different because I have Word. And so if I have Word, it's going to look different. Okay, I'm glad it's not just me. It's rough everywhere. Probably, Sammy, because of that video. That was a rough video. And also, if you've never seen Contagion, it's a rough film to watch. I keep seeing people post that school's canceled for the rest of the year. Yes. The biggest thing is with school being canceled for the rest of the year is that they're going to announce it within the next 24 to 48 hours. But there's nothing, a formal announcement yet. So, I would say be prepared that that's probably going to happen, right? You should know that the likelihood of that happening is very, very high. We still have more and more cases coming in, and it has a 2-week incubation period beyond having symptoms. So even if cases started to drop, it'd still be 2 weeks after cases started to drop, and we're not seeing those cases drop yet. But it, like, Sammy, it felt like scratching an itch, right? Like, it's like, oh, this is exactly how I'm feeling. So notice how it looks a little bit different on my end. The biggest thing that you're going to notice is Monday and Wednesday, student engagement hours is supposed to be time where teachers are online actively engaging you guys. So for us in my English class, this would look like I would make sure that whatever I had uploaded for Google Classroom would be uploaded by 8 a.m., at least for my first period. So my videos are probably going to be uploaded a little bit earlier rather than my 1 o'clock schedule. They'll be uploaded at 8 a.m. They might actually be filmed a day in advance, so that would benefit everybody. And also attendance will be uploaded at 8 a.m. Notice this though. You do not have to be there at 8 a.m. That is just the guaranteed time when the teacher will be online to interact with you. All right? So that's a time when the teacher is guaranteed to be there, not when you have to be there. Everything that I'm doing, these live streams included, are going to be available after the fact. So if you don't want to wake up at 8 a.m., please do not wake up at 8 a.m. This is a very unique time. You got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Contagion is a very rough movie. It's like when you listen to a sad song when you're sad, but instead of sadness, it's pure terror. Yep. Contagion, we should talk about that differently. We should talk about that separately. Maybe we'll do that with the next half of the stream so we can get the stream taken down. But you'll notice this. It goes basically an hour for student engagement hour. So it's like me talking to you guys or being available to chat online for that specific class. So if you have me first period, first of all, you're a freshman and you're not in the chat right now. And second of all, you'd be at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. and you'd be able to talk to me. From 9 to 9:35, I still have to be around, and that's for me to respond to emails that are specific to first period. So if a parent is like, hey, Mr. Jackson, you said something, and that thing that you said didn't make any sense to me, can you explain it more? Then I can be like, okay, yeah, I'll send out an explainer video or something. Boom, surprise, I'm back on the screen. And gave you a chance to look at everything. Also, I can like scoot out of the way and point at stuff. Doop-de-doo. All right. It's, I wouldn't say it's graphic or gory. I would say that it's like psychologically terrifying. There's parts that are a little bit like gross. Some of it's satisfying, like Gwyneth Paltrow. I did not like her. So with that being said, you'll notice that it goes 8 to 9, teacher student time. 9 to 9:35, teacher student / parent time. And then it moves on to the next period. But that next period is third period. It is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. All right. If you've got a 0 period, I know that was like AP Bio. AP Bio was a 0 period, then that 0 period is now moved to after lunch. So basically, if you don't have a 0 period or a 7th period, you'll notice that if I scroll down, a 0 period or a 7th period, then it's not going to go past 12 o'clock. Past 12:45, sorry. Yeah, AP Chem is a 0 period. I don't think it's on Netflix. I rented it on something else that wasn't Netflix. In fact, Contagion. I'm going to use Siri to tell me what it was on. Hulu. It's on Hulu. So you can check it out on Hulu. So as you look at this, if you have that 0 period, AP Chem is now going to be taking place from 1:45 to till 2:45 on Mondays and Wednesdays. All right. So that's actually more time for AP Chem than you would have had before. That's crazy. Which is kind of great, but also like, I'm not sure what the expectations are, because you basically, I would assume, are going to get information about how to deal with a brand new type of AP test that hasn't been dealt with before. So yikes. But that's the sort of thing that we're looking at. And really what you need to know is that this is broken down into 3 different weeks. Let's go to a calendar and see. All right. As we go into Google Calendar, look at all this stuff that's not going to happen. Block. I don't need your updates. Turn that off. Turn that off. Testing is gone. The neighborhood is gone. Oof, oof. All of that is sad. Okay. Already basically told there was no way that they'd be able to pass with the time that they had. Ooh, ouch. Okay, now there's actually a chance that you could pass, though. That's great. So let's look at this week. This week, the week of April 1st that we're in, is just a time when teachers are supposed to be training on things like Zoom, right? When we move into the next week, this week is intro for students to online classes. So this is a time where you can make up classes, you can turn in old work, that sort of stuff, but ultimately there will be no new work assigned. All right. I don't need all that stuff, but okay. Intro for students and online classes. Then this is actual. You actually get spring break. There's nothing that's going to happen that week. So literally, it's going to be 1 week of whatever the new normal is, and then 1 week of that being gone. Very strange. Not really sure what they're expecting there. And then if they don't extend the school closures, you will have 1 week, it's this week, where it will be online school with expectations. All right. So I don't know what those expectations look like. Nobody really knows what those expectations look like at this point. But that's going to go right down there. Oh, you can't see it. It's not on the screen right now. Stop flipping around, flipper. Let me see if I can make this smaller. Stinking OBS. There. Now you guys can see what I see. Online school with expectations down here from the 19th to the 24th. You still have your spring break. Yeah, because that's a 7th period. So TOK is still going to be doing stuff, but it's just going to be during that 7th period time. That's what I would assume. Then when we move into May, keep in mind that as you're looking at May, you've got, online school with expectations to the 24th. Then when you look into the 27th through the 1st, right, that's another week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks of online school in total. 5 weeks of online school in total, where we'll be following this, and there might be grades involved and things might actually be due. All right. So that's 5 weeks of online school. And then you have summer that starts in June. All right. Because this is when we're supposed to have that final schedule on the 5th. So you have basically 5 to 6 weeks of online schooling, and that's where expectations would actually exist, and there would be grades, and that's what your new normal is going to look like. I hope that clarified some things for you guys. First of all, in how to use, it is the 2011 film Blue. Sorry, I didn't notice that. That clarifies some things on how to use Zoom, as well as how to understand this schedule a little bit better. Notice that on the schedule itself, it says you're either using Google Classroom, Nearpod, Zoom. It doesn't mention anything about YouTube, but my YouTube stuff will be going into Google Classroom. All right. So I'm still going to continue what I'm doing with YouTube. And then you'll notice that the office hours description down here, it's for this interaction with students and parents. All right. Are there any other comments, questions, or concerns about some of the changes that we're experiencing right now? And no, that wasn't supposed to be an implication about puberty. I'm sorry. I know what it sounded like. This went a little bit faster than I expected. This is great. If not, so Friday, there is nothing. Yeah, Fridays from now on, never ever class. When is my voice going to get deeper? Never. You can just start talking really deep for no reason. But it doesn't actually fix anything. Your voice is what your voice is. You should be proud of it. Yeah, so Friday, there is no actual class. You won't have any online expectations. You finally get all Fridays off. How lovely. All right. You will likely be taller than 5'1" because people don't stop growing until their early 20s, but I wouldn't expect you to be taller than 5'3". Statistics. Sorry. There's a chance you could not ever be taller than 5'1", and 5'1" is a perfectly fine height to be. So, with all of that being said, I wonder if this will work. Let's talk about that terrible movie. I need to start a free trial. I already have it. I guess I could sign in on my teacher account. Not guest. Get out of here. Oh, I've got YouTube open on my other thing, so I shouldn't go into contagion. Maybe if my voice wants to be proud of it, then maybe it should buck the heck up and actually try for once. Yep. The more that you use the voice, the better. One of my favorite quotes from an old Bright Eyes song was, it's the one with the sorest throats that have done the most singing. So, yeah, you just keep singing. And if it sounds like you've been using your voice, good job. You should be using your voice. That's how we fight fascism. Now we're just talking about Pride, like, in October. I think there's many reasons why we should be excited for October. Chief among them is that this mostly will be over. So I would really love for this to mostly be over. Online band camp, I have no idea how they're teaching band. I would love to see the creative ways in which we handle this, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's going to get really awkward and somewhat inefficient, at least at first. Basically, all of your teachers that had any level of skill as teachers are now going back as if it's their first year teaching. And whatever skill they have is now hidden behind whatever lack of skill they have in teaching online. So even for me, where I really like uploading stuff to YouTube, I'm just relying on the things that I know how to do best. I'm not actually bringing or marrying my teaching into what I know how to do. right? Like, I don't know how to get you guys to do assignments. I keep on being like, hey guys, send me videos. That'd be really nice. Send me some videos and I can use those. I can at least interact with other people. And no, I don't get any videos. People don't be emailing me any videos. Maybe I should set it as like a Google Classroom assignment. Be like, send me videos of what you're doing today, because I'm going insane. Like, it's just me, these 3 animals, and Miss Ely hanging out, and oof. Yeah. No internet where she lives, so I don't know how that's going to go. Yeah. I was going to say there's a bunch of teachers who don't have internet access, and now they're being told that they have to have internet access. So they, like, if they live out in the boonies, then they're not going to get much sympathy from Dr. Wilson in that regard, because Dr. Wilson also lives out in the boonies. And there's stuff that's available to them. But I think that it's more that people are unwilling to engage with it. It's very difficult. And I don't blame anybody for being unwilling to engage with it, because I think that there's a lot to cope with right now, and we should maybe focus on coping in the best ways that we know how. For instance, today, as you could tell from maybe my video uploads and that sort of stuff, it's been a little bit of a rougher day. And I think that everyone needs to be able to say, yeah, you don't experience this sort of outbreak on a regular basis. So maybe this year I get a little bit of slack. Maybe today it's okay for me to not be 100%. I did see how much money you made last night. Do you want to give me some of that money? I could pay off my house again. I'll give you flowers. That is rough. And there's a lot of stuff that, like, I think that if we look back at how things were supposed to be, one of the biggest things was I was under the impression I was going to go to New York for IB training, and I was super excited. Yeah. I was super excited to go to that training, and that never happened. And if I look back on it and said, oh my gosh, I really wanted to do this thing, then it makes it significantly worse. It makes the feeling of missing out exist. Whereas if I simply focus on what is ahead or what is today, yeah, all of robotics, when we got so much money to go to robotics. So I don't know what's happening with the Florida trip. I don't know how that's going to work. And there are people, Sammy especially, where this is your senior year. And so that has a huge impact on what that looks like. I need to send people peanut butter. I got iPads with Apple Pens, and I've got peanut butter, and I wish that I could send them to people so that you could participate fully in this sort of stuff. Ureli definitely needs an iPad for some digital drawing things. But I'm checking my email while we're talking. This is how distracted I am. Yes, pen, pineapple, apple, pen. With that being said, yeah, I think that there's a lot that people are missing out on if you look back and say, this is what things could have been. In the same way, I get anxious at the thought of what things could have been, even in this context, where I'm like, I'm trying my best to put stuff out onto the internet where I'm interacting with you guys. And when I'm not interacting with a lot of you guys, I feel like I've failed to reach out to the maximum number of students, and I'm not doing as well as I could have done in this circumstance, right? So looking at the circumstance that we're in, I just saw a post on Twitter that was like, so I realized it wasn't that I needed more time to clean my house. I'm just lazy. And, I kind of feel that, where now I'm looking at my life with this added time, with these new opportunities, and feeling like more of a failure in light of what could happen even in this context. If I think back to a week ago and say, this is what could have happened within that context of how the world used to be, then I'm going to get, obviously much, much more sad, focusing on all of those things, right? I could be going swimming right now kind of thoughts. That's not going to help us much. Put it in a box of school and then leave it somewhere where we can pick it up. Yeah, That'd be a great idea, but you're not allowed to even go outside. I don't know if you heard the most recent thing that was announced from Riverside County, which was you're not supposed to go outside without a mask on covering your face. And that doesn't have to be a medical mask. It can be any sort of covering on your face, so you can have fabric covering your face, but you're not supposed to walk your dog without covering your face. So the chances of you guys getting to be able to come to the school and pick up stuff, very, very slim. Makes me sad. Yeah, just a Spider-Man mask. But not in that scene where he's upside down, because then he's exposing his mouth, and that's not okay. Please don't walk around in spooky masks. That does not seem like the right answer to this question. Are there any other questions from you guys? I would strongly suggest watching something that actually does distract you. If that's something like Tiger King, I just watched all of Tiger King. It's very triggering. There's a lot of stuff that's very like intense. So if that's not what you're feeling and you want to escape more, there's ways in which you can do that. Make sure that you're getting up, that you're walking. I'm sorry, Sammy. I'll see you later. Make sure that you're getting up and you're walking. I watched Beastars. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And some of that you can feel like you're building up this anxiety over a period of time and that it doesn't go away. That's super rough. That it's just sort of like boiling underneath as other things are happening. I think that the best I can do is tell you that everyone is feeling that to some extent. This sense of like stir craziness, fear, that I think is very normal. And I think it's something that we're all going to have to cope with for the next few years as we start to unravel this. I'm imagining many of the seniors that are going off, that are starting their college careers, with this like emotional debt of what's happened right now. But in the same way, many of my sophomores that are going to go on to their junior years are going to be significantly more difficult because you're going to feel like maybe you're less prepared going into your junior year. And a lot of people will be like, look, I can't perform in that same way that you've had an expectation. And so really thinking about my freshmen and how their freshman year is going to affect their sophomore year and then into their junior year and their senior year, we've got 4 years of high school that is going to have to look different, that people are going to adapt to. It's not going to be just like, if you live in the Cove, there's a house that has a shelf of books outside and they're just giving them away. I bet they coughed on them first, those monsters. All right. With that said, I'm going to have to end a little bit early because I got to go pick up my kiddos. I get to go pick up my kiddos. But I hope that you guys are all doing well. Know that I miss you. And of course I can pose for the daily. I would never hesitate to pose for the daily. Bah! This is weird. I look so spooky. Kenna, you need to get onto the night ones. What else are you doing at 8:30? Right? Like, get on and do the Minecraft with us. It's a blast. Anywho. When it gets too close to the camera, it like disappears. Is it too shiny? Yeah. Yes. 8:30 to 10:30. It's Sebby's late night sweat bean variety show. Why it's called that, I can't explain. But yeah, check Google Classroom. I keep on putting updates there and watch the videos that I post on the YouTube channel. But just know that I think you guys are all awesome. And with that, smap your plap. It's getting worse. And everybody yell quack, quack. I love you all. Bye. I can't turn it off.